Hey there, it's Tim from Love Openly, and I can't believe that I'm saying this on the internet, but I had an orgasm yesterday and I ejaculated, and the day before that I had another orgasm, and I thought this would be a good time for me to film this video so that you can see what kind of state I'm in. And lots of people ask me to create an update to my previous Pois video, which was a long time ago. People have begged me, please do an update. So here it is. Is my Pois cured? Let's get into that. Okay, so it's been about a year and a half since my last Pois video where I talked about what I did to cure Pois, and a lot has changed in my life in that time. But one thing that hasn't changed though is I'm still not seeing really any videos on YouTube about Pois. Guys, what is up with that? Why are you not creating videos? Why are you not talking about this? Because, you know, if you don't talk about it, if you don't share like I'm doing, then how are we ever going to move forward on this? How are we going to actually get it out there and let people know about what's happening? Okay, so I'm going to talk about my situation here as it stands at the moment, like 1.5 years after my last video. So the first thing is that I continue to have sex and try not to have orgasms when I do that. I had a look at, I keep a log of how often I have orgasms, and I would say on average at the moment it's about once every 3 weeks. I may share that log with you. I don't know if people want that information, but I'm just trying to help out, so I'll put everything out there that I can. The other thing is that since my last videos, my eating habits have become far more conscious. So I'm a lot more strict, basically. My diet now is a lot more basic. It's rice, it's noodles, it's vegetables, it's soups. Occasionally I will have meat. But I would say at this point I'm about 95% vegan, and I think the quality of the food that I'm eating has dramatically gone up in the last year and a half for sure, because I've been putting more effort into that. And I would definitely say here that after my previous inquiries into my symptoms, I definitely do not touch any dairy anymore. I don't have it. And likewise, I try where possible to just completely avoid any bread of any kind. Now, that one I'm not as good at. I do have bread sometimes, but dairy definitely not, because these two things definitely are not good for me. So I've decided to stop having those. One thing I want to say in the last year and a half, a big change in my body, is that for about 5 years I had really bad eczema. I had skin problems, mostly it was all on the right hand side of my body for some reason. It would be on my hand. I would get these kind of like flare-ups and breakouts of itchiness and dry skin, and that over time has completely, I missed the other thing, cold sores. I would get cold sores, and just, it was all on the right hand side, and over the last year and a half that has completely gone. I don't have that problem anymore, and obviously this is a video about Pois, but that's something that's changed as a result of my diet, and it's definitely linked to my Pois and I think the candida that I spoke about before. So I think it's worth talking about. If you're having skin problems like that, if you're having dry skin as a result of Pois, it might be connected. Okay, so am I cured? Well, if you haven't seen the video where I talk about what I did to cure myself, then I'll put the link in the description of this video. You should watch that, because this isn't really going to make sense. In fact, none of this will make sense if you don't watch that. So, am I cured? Well, the simple answer to this question is If I maintain a healthy lifestyle, then the answer is yes. If I don't maintain a healthy lifestyle, then it's not so clear-cut. So sorry if you're looking for a simple answer and a simple solution to this. I'm trying to be as honest here as I can about what's gone on with me. I want to say this. I want to say that I think that looking at Pois as an illness is a big problem, because I've changed how I look at Pois now. I see it as a lifestyle problem, not a standalone illness. I don't think that's what Pois is personally. So the reason I think this is a bad problem is because your body is clearly telling you that there is something wrong, right? So you have to listen to it. You can't just expect to take some pills or take drugs and just have the problem go away, because you're not working on the root of the problem, right? And you have to look at this differently. You have to look at it as if there's something that you've done that's made this happen, right? And we don't know yet if this is true, but I can say from my experience, this has been the case. When I changed how I looked at it, it's made an improvement in the outcome of the effect of when I have an orgasm. So all of my success with Pois, all of the reduction in symptoms that I've had has been primarily down to my attitude, changing my attitude and changing my diet, changing my lifestyle, changing my well-being. These are the things that I've focused on to improve Pois. Initially, I did jump to those pills, I did jump to the drugs, as you'll see in my first video, but those didn't really bring me the results that I wanted, whereas the other stuff that I've done has. So I think there's two key words here really that you need to think about. The first is holistic. You know, you have to look at this problem not as an isolated incident, but rather as something where you have to look at the broad spectrum of what you're doing in your life and how what you're doing might be affecting the symptoms that you have. And I think the second thing that you need to focus on, the second keyword, is time. Now, this I see is an issue for a lot of guys. When I look at the forums, they're just so desperate that they want to solve the problem, that they're rushing into all sorts of different possible solutions, and I don't think that is healthy. I think you might actually be making it worse, because you're taking things that you don't know what they're doing, you're acting out certain things and you don't know what the results are going to be, and I just don't think that is the right approach. So you need to take this, you know, you need to be holistic about it and you need to take your time, okay? Don't try and solve this overnight. I originally started making videos about this 3 years ago, but I had the Pois symptoms for a lot longer than that, maybe like 8 years now, I don't know, I can't exactly remember, but it's been a long journey for me to get to where I am now, and I'm still going with that, right? I'm not looking at this as something I just need to fix overnight. So I actually think that it might be possible that in the future we might see Pois becoming a symptom of another illness rather than a standalone illness. That's my feeling. I feel that with the way that my symptoms have been dealt with, like, it just seems like that to me. Like, I haven't targeted the Pois directly. I targeted a different problem, a different illness, and that has led to the reduction in my symptoms. Okay, so I'm going to talk about now the effects that happen when I have an orgasm. It varies a lot now, the effects that the Pois takes on with me. Before, if you've seen my other videos, you'll know that, you know, Pois would last 7 days for me, and I would be a complete wreck, you know. I wouldn't be able to talk to anybody. I would have most of the symptoms that you see on forums now that seem pretty common, like brain fog, inability to socialize, muscle aches, fatigue. I was just unable to do anything really. I was so tired all of the time, and it was just horrible. So now, as you can see, you know, I had an orgasm yesterday, had an orgasm the day before that, and you can see the effect is pretty much night and day from where I was, you know. I'm able to function now. I feel pretty good actually, you know. I'm approaching 40, so obviously having an orgasm for me makes me feel some weakness. I feel a little bit drained, but you know, right now I feel great, and it's actually pretty surprising for me because I don't normally have orgasms like one after the other like that. So it's surprising for me to have this this effect, and for it to be, you know, actually not that bad, and it's not really made any difference at all. So yeah, so usually on the first day, there's basically 3 things that I try to do as a routine. So the first thing is, as soon as I have the orgasm, I apply like a semen locking technique. So the idea for that is I don't want to release so much semen, and I have a technique that I've been using for over 10 years now, and it's not something I can go into this video, but I'll probably do another video about that. The second thing that I do is, right after I have the orgasm, I go to the toilet and I urinate because I want to get out. You know, this is something you should do anyway, whether you have pois or not, because you get bacteria in your urethra, and by urinating, especially if there's any ejaculate, that you want to get that out, right? You clean out your urethra. So that's the second thing that I do. I urinate as soon as I can. And the third thing that I do is I go to sleep, right? I want to sleep as soon as I can after having an orgasm because my body needs to rejuvenate, and you know, the prolactin brings that on anyway, but I found that if I don't do that, it could make the symptoms worse. So I always do these 3 things as a routine. Every time I have an orgasm, I try to get those things done, and if I don't do those things, then the symptoms could come on. So another thing that I've noticed is that on the first day, over the course of the day, I might see some muscle fatigue come in. Well, I mean, this doesn't really happen to me so much now, but in the past it used to. And one thing that I've definitely found that helps with this is raw ginger, right? Raw ginger for me, if I take the raw ginger, it seems to eliminate the muscle fatigue and also brain fog. I found that it got rid of as well. So if I was especially tired with the effects and I took raw ginger, then I found that that would go away. So I recommend raw ginger. That's one thing that I've definitely seen work for me. So I'm pretty sure that other people that have pois probably have a day where it's their killer day, where it's like where they just feel terrible. I don't know if it's the first day for you, the second day for you, or whatever, but for me, it's the second day. So what I found now with that is what would happen is on the second day, if I have symptoms, what will happen is I'll become, you know, my personality will change. I'll become a little bit autistic and a little bit narrow focused. But actually what I've been doing is I've been taking advantage of that, and it's actually been kind of interesting. So on that day 2 now, because it's predictable if it's going to come, and I don't know if I'm going to have those symptoms or not, but if on day 1 I do, as I say, I don't have symptoms that frequently anymore, but if it becomes like it used to be, then I have a schedule or a structure about how I can deal with it. So on the day 2, I always make sure that I'm going to do some kind of laptop work. So some kind of coding or development or any kind of project that requires me to do deep thinking, because I've found that this really interesting side effect on that day is that, like, if I get myself away from people and I sit down and I just get a quiet space where nobody's going to bother me, what I found actually is that the poise kind of helps me to do that work. You know, I can sit there for like up to 12 hours, like with this weird sort of autistic outlook, and I just get more done. I become extremely productive. And over the last year and a half, I've made a lot of use out of that when I've had those day 2s. And the other thing that helps this along, and this is another thing that I found that really helped with my poise, is coffee, right? I never used to have coffee at all because it would give me shakes. I would get, like, you know, shaky, all the sort of symptoms if you're not used to caffeine. But over the year and a half, I stumbled on something, and that's on this day 2, if I drink coffee, what happens is those symptoms disappear and my baseline gets kind of reset. It's really interesting. I found this, it's just become totally transformative for me, and if I double that up with that day, doing that laptop work, you know, it's just been magical. So what I would recommend to you is, if you don't drink coffee, then when you have Pois symptoms, try that out, right? And if you do drink coffee, then I recommend that you reduce how much that you drink and then start saving it for those days. And I would really love to hear from you about coffee in particular. Does this make a difference to your symptoms? I think I read on the forum one person suggested that it helped with them. But for me, like, it's been really clear. It's the easiest thing that I've seen that made a huge difference. And it's so accessible, a lot more accessible than, say, buying raw ginger. You know, you can go anywhere and get coffee, right? So that's been a huge change for me, using coffee. I don't really need it now because, as you can see, my symptoms aren't really that bad. And actually, I've drank more and more coffee over the last year and a half since I've just sort of decided that it's great. You know, I've got into the bug of coffee. But I'm still not like, I'm not having it every single day. I'm still kind of like saving it in case I might need it. I use it as a tool. And as a tool for Pois, it definitely works for me, so I recommend that. So the last thing I want to talk about in this video is more kind of theoretical, and it's more like my kind of ideas about some things that might be making Pois symptoms worse. And the main thing here is the role that anxiety plays on the effects of Pois. So I know this is kind of like a point of contention within the Pois community, because people getting Pois symptoms and then they're going to the doctor and the doctor's telling them it's all in their head and it's just made up. And obviously we know that's not the case, right? But that said, I'm seeing over the last year and a half, you know, I spent more time looking in the community, answering people's questions, talking to people, having phone conversations with people, and I've clearly seen that there is definitely some relationship between people who have Pois and anxiety, right? Stress. I think stress is something there for sure. And actually, I've seen, you know, it's been really interesting how people have reacted to my videos, right? Some people have been like, yeah, this is amazing, this is great. But then there's been some people that have just all out attacked me, right? They've put comments like, just really scathing comments about the fact that I've made these videos, right? Like, I've just done something really horrible. And I looked at the people posting those comments and I realized that they kind of have this identity around Pois that they're forming. And I think that's dangerous, right? Somebody posted my video in a Facebook group about Pois, and the admin, for a reason I don't understand, basically kicked me out of that group. So I guess people are looking at my videos and they're disgusted or like reacting in a negative way because I'm saying that, you know, for some people it seems that the idea that maybe you can get rid of Pois is just blaspheme to them, right? It's just impossible to even consider. And I look at those people and I'm worried about them, because I think that if you're identifying and creating a story around having Pois as a problem and making it a part of your life, you're kind of like getting into victimhood, and that's not good, because that's not going to help you stop having Pois, right? You know, that's what this video is about, that's what the other videos are made about, and for me, I've seen results, right? And if you don't try out things and you don't believe that there is something you can do, then you're just gonna suffer a lot longer than you need to, right? So in terms of anxiety, you know, this is something that I think has become more apparent about myself over time. I never really saw myself as particularly anxious or stress prone, but I think that, especially, you know, this year we've had COVID and stuff like that, I think it's been clear to me that I do worry a lot more than most people, I think, and it's something that I have been working on this year. I think it definitely affects my health and my well-being. I think it affects my immune system. I think there's definitely some kind of connection there for sure, and it's possible that could be exacerbating my digestion system symptoms, and that could be leading to Pois, right? And it might be that because I've been working on that's why my symptoms have improved. So it's definitely something that you need to consider. It's something you need to think about. You know, are you overly stressed? Are you worrying about things a lot? And, you know, to be honest, I didn't think I was, but it took many conversations with different people to make me look at that a bit more differently. So think about that. It might be something that's affecting you. So yeah, something I want to add to that though is that, like, I don't think this is all purely mental when it comes to anxiety and stress. You know, I've read some books on the microbiome, and obviously the science of this is new, but there's definitely a connection there as well with the quality of your microbiome and the effects on your well-being. You know, it's been shown that what you eat can cause you to feel depressed, it can cause you to feel stressed, and it can cause you to feel anxious. So obviously nobody knows this stuff right now, but there's a clear link, right? So it might not just be that your mind is the problem, it might be that the food that you're eating is the problem. It's all probably connected, and that's why you have to look at this holistically. So the last thing I wanted to talk about here is, you know, I have talked to different people here, and again I'm seeing a pattern, and that is with the way that you look at orgasms, right? And sex in general, right? I'm seeing that there's men out there that are having problems with their sex lives, and when they're having that orgasm, they're thinking incredibly negative thoughts about their orgasm, but not just their orgasm, about their performance sexually, right? I'm seeing this, and I'm seeing that the way that you talk to yourself about how you're having sex, whether it be a partner, whether it be your release on your own, that to me is having an impact. You know, again, this is a theory. I can't say 100% for sure, but I know that in my case, I don't look at myself in a negative way when I have an orgasm. I don't think negative thoughts when I have an orgasm. Sometimes it's annoying, for sure, but I don't see it as a problem. I don't see having a problem with my performance, right? Sometimes I might ejaculate sooner than I want to when I have a sexual partner, but I don't make a big deal out of it, and I think that matters, right? I think this is something that I could go really deeply into, but I don't think I could do it on this video. It needs more time, and obviously everybody has their own individual circumstance about that. Okay, so after my last video, I started to get so many people trying to get in touch with me. You know, people they started off putting messages on the YouTube video, commenting, but then I just found people getting into my email, and I was like, how are they finding my email address? And on Reddit and stuff like that, and these people, they're just asking me, please, can I talk to you about Pois? You know, please can we have a conversation about it? And initially I didn't really want to do that, but I wanted to help people, so I agreed to the people that found me, because they put in so much effort, right? So I started having phone calls with people about Pois, and we would talk about you know, what had happened to them and how they could deal with them, and I'd share my experiences, and I found that the men that I was talking to, they were getting a lot out of these calls, right? They seemed so happy that they had somebody to talk to, somebody who understood, somebody that they could share this with, because I know how hard it is, right? If you haven't got somebody to talk to and you're suffering and nobody understands, that's so difficult, right? So one of the things I've decided to do is I've decided that I'm going to make this an option, right? I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to allow, if you want to talk to me, you can do it, right? So I've created a website for that. So that's at https://loveopenly.net/pois call. Okay, I'll put a link in the description. But if you wanna speak to me directly, then you can do. And obviously, there's going to be some charge for that, and I'll put it on the page. And also, in terms of the time, ideally, I would like to make it so that when you speak to me, we can take as long as you need to. And if not many people decide to do that, then decide to contact me, then I will open that up. And I did that before, right? So you can just talk to me, ask me anything you want for as long as you want, right? But if a lot of people get in touch with me, then obviously I can't reasonably do that. So I might squash it down to like 1 hour per call or something. But I'll put it on that page. And yeah, so if that's something that interests you, if you want to get in touch with me, if you want to talk with me, then I would love to talk with you. So it's there for you. Yeah, so link in the description. So that's all I have to say on this video. It's been a crazy year and a half. That's maybe something I need to talk about in another video, but in terms of my poise, yeah, I did that initial thing to fix it, and I was so happy with that, and things really have just got better and better for me over time. And it's not like, I wouldn't say that I'm at 0%, but it really doesn't affect my life anymore. It's just really not a problem anymore, right? And hopefully some of the things that I've told you in this video are things that you can take away, things that you can try. But please, if you do have any experience to talk about, make a video about it, put it on YouTube, right? We need more videos like this. I need people to stop coming to me and being like, Pois master. I'm not a Pois master, I'm just like you, right? I'm just somebody that did some stuff, right? And you can contribute to this community. So please make a video. Don't be afraid, talk about it, it's fine, right? My family don't know that I make these videos, and if they did, it's alright, you know? It's alright to have some sort of illness or condition that you don't know how to solve, right? It's fine. Be brave, do it. Okay, that's all I have to say on this video, so hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Okay, bye.